My name is Tara Healey. I'm the founder and director of Point 32 Health's mindfulness program. Welcome to our Thursday morning gathering. If you have not yet opened the chat, please go ahead and do that. Go to the drop-down menu and select everyone, and that will enable us to communicate since we are in webinar format this morning. So as part of one of our changes for 2025 is on Thursday, John Roberts, the operations manager of our program, joins us for just a couple minutes or so. John, that's perfect. To kind of debrief a little bit the Tuesday sessions. So John, I'm gonna let you.
Right. Thank you. I'm grateful to be here. Just grateful to be alive. And here we are. So Tara, as you know, on Tuesday, we held the second of our 3 sessions with Zina Potia, your friend of mine, on the topic mindfully setting intentions for the new year. And that got me thinking about how on our Living Well Facebook group, our colleague Maggie has been doing an incredible job leading the charge on one of her own goals for the new year, which is to declutter the spaces she inhabits. Or, as she puts it in so lovely a way, to resolve to love our space and only keep the things that are functional or that truly make us happy. So all this month, Maggie has been posting these tips to our Facebook group on how to approach this task of pruning the spaces in our homes with help from the folks in our Facebook community. So, for example, Jen and Mary Jo both suggested starting with the fridge. And I don't know about you, Tara, but I, for one, know that I have more than one spent jug of mustard taking up valuable real estate in my fridge, even though at this point that jug of mustard is less an actual condiment and more a grim, crusty shadow of its former self. You could also start by attacking the spice cabinet. I'm thinking about this one time when I visited my father and I found spices in his spice cabinet from companies that had gone out of business decades earlier. And you might finally get rid of all those charging cables for iPods from the days when iPods were a thing. You could ditch the pants that have been patched one too many times. Or Maggie said she got a jump start on this project back in December when she not only resolved, but actually succeeded in sending out every last card in the 5 half-full boxes of unused Christmas cards that she discovered in a closet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she was like, I'm gonna figure out how to have that many people, in my life receive cards. So Maggie has some suggestions as to what to do with the stuff that you might decide to say goodbye to. Many towns have buy nothing groups where folks commit to only acquiring things secondhand. My town has a transfer station that has sheds set up where you can drop off items that you no longer need for other folks to sift through and take for themselves. Animal shelters often look for extra towels and blankets. And here's my favorite. You can even plan a group cooking night focused exclusively on using up those ingredients that you might have bought to use in one particular dish like 3 years ago and have not touched since then. So, okay, so the point is we're decluttering all month long. We'd love to have you pop into our Facebook group and let us know what you might be thinking about letting go of. I'm going to go put that Facebook.
Thank you, John, for putting that in the chat. Yep.
Tara, I have to ask, do you have any plans to declutter your space?
In fact, I do, and I have, and it's reminding me to just kind of join in on the Facebook. So there's a couple things. I live in an old barn. And upstairs, there is another little upstairs. It's a sleeping loft. And it's where I have stored things because the way this house is set up, it doesn't have like a lot of natural closet space. So I have been using the sleeping loft but there's been stuff up there for years. So all of that has been taken down. And that floor has been cleaned, and now I'm going through that. And then I have another very small closet upstairs that has also just been collecting things. Like it's where I store cans of paint. I've had paint work. So it's like, who knows how old some of those are, but taking care of that. And then it's funny you should mention the fridge down, because that is weighing heavily on me now.
I'm sorry, Char. I didn't mean to trigger anything here for you, but no. I'm gonna be honest with you. Every once a season, I take everything out of the fridge and I clean it, and I try to return it to factory specs. I want it to look like
Oh,
it did when I put
yeah.
it in there. I remember my father. I can remember as a kid. You'd have to like unplug the fridge and like let the ice, melt
Yes.
in the fridge. You know
Yes.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I
It's like
do.
we
I
don't do that
do.
anymore, right? But that was a whole
No, but we
project.
defrost the
You
freezer.
frost the freezer.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, is it just like an old fridge thing? I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
now, for my own part, this tends to be the time of year when I get motivated to wean my inbox of the seemingly
Oh,
endless stream of newsletters I've somehow ended up subscribed to throughout the year. And this is a hot tip. If you use Gmail, okay, if you click on the report spam button in response to like the notifications you might be getting from Macy's every day telling you what's
yeah.
on sale, the prompt that pops up will not actually immediately report the thing as spam, but ask you, would you prefer to simply unsubscribe from the mailing list? And then it will just do it for you, which means you
Oh,
can get yourself free in just 2 clicks.
oh,
Of
that's
like
great.
having to go to the website where they'll try to convince you not to
Yeah,
unsubscribe.
yeah.
Are you
Thanks, John.
sure you want to
Yeah,
unsubscribe?
right, right. It's always, are you
Yeah.
sure?
And then they'll try to convince you to tell them like why. And it's very passive aggressive. Like, what didn't you like about us? So I like this report spam thing. Give it a
Yeah.
try. It really works pretty well. And Tara, I was thinking, meditation, is that a way that we can declutter our minds?
Yes, it is,
Is that
John. And
a
it's
way
a
to think
beautiful
about things?
segue into our practice this morning,
Well, that is a
because
beautiful segue. But Tara, before
yeah,
if
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
mind me,
yeah,
I just want to give one last plug.
yeah.
For a couple things, because I'm gonna start by saying something that you're going to start recognizing as I'm speaking about it. There's this neurological aspect of what we're talking about, right? Because the researcher Dave Vago has talked about the glymphatic system and how that's responsible for removing debris from the brain, the buildup of which could actually contribute to the onset of neurodegenerative disorders. And
Right.
meditation might be able to mimic the states in which the glymphatic system does its work. Okay,
Exactly.
so that's another great segue to say
Beautiful. Yeah.
Dave
Thank you.
Vago, he's going to be a special guest of ours on the January edition of our Art and Science of Awareness interview series. Now, that's taking place on Tuesday, January 28th, 12 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. I put the link into
Thank
the
you,
chat where you
John.
can find out some
Yeah.
more. But first, we have one more session with Zeenat Potia, which we'd love for folks to join by following that same link. There'll be more information about that there, or you can watch on-demand versions of our previous sessions with Zeenat. And pertinent to that, one of the things we're exploring with Zeenat is this distinction between goals and intentions. We've sort of been talking about goals here, like a goal might be to get rid of all of your extra capes and berets, but an intention may be to keep perched at the tip of your mind that question, how many capes and berets do I need in the first place? So this is what we've been talking about, and I think it all dovetails with mindfulness.
Yes.
Meditation is the way that you make it all happen. So Tara,
Thank you,
thank
John.
you,
Yeah. Thank
and
you.
hope everyone has a great meditation session this morning. You're all wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, John. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and move into practice. So, you've got a couple options for posture. You can stand, you could be seated, you can do this lying down. I always have a little caution with reclining or lying down. If you're tired, I would say that's probably not the best posture, but it is, any of those three are fine postures. So go ahead and settle in, make any micro movements so that you're sitting or standing in a way that is easeful yet engaged. So you're finding that balance of not too tight and not too loose. So engaged. Your eyes, as always, can be open or closed. If they're open, gaze down a little bit to help remove any peripheral distraction. And as you're settling in, it's often a good idea just to do 2 deep breaths as a way to settle any surface tension from the morning, making that exhalation a little longer than the inhalation. So on your own, do a couple deep breaths. Just allowing the weight of the body to surrender into the support of the ground below, really feeling held, maintaining that subtle, easeful sense of engagement, noticing the points of contact with the back of the body and the surface, and feeling from the inside out. So what do the points of contact feel like? And perhaps noticing other bodily sensations from your activity this morning. So that could be a pulsing, vibration, tingling, temperature. All is allowed. It's just simply receiving whatever the body is offering. And it typically falls into one of three categories: feels pretty good, doesn't feel great, or somewhat neutral. Regardless of where it falls on that continuum of feeling good or not feeling good, we're really working with the allowance, especially with those bodily sensations that are challenging or difficult. Often there is a natural resistance. And so if that's arising, we're actually including the resistance into our practice this morning. So feeling the physicality of that, aware of that, and to the degree that we can, inviting a little bit of softening, if that's possible. But whole body awareness, receiving sensations. And let's take a moment also to now open awareness to sound that may be occurring in the room or even outside of the room, making a soft mental note hearing. So no need to label what is actually making the sound, but literally just engaging hearing. And sometimes sound is felt as a vibration, so that could be a possibility as well. Receptive, curious, allowing. And let's now narrow the focus of attention on an anchor. So finding a stabilizer for the wandering mind, remembering that we're not trying to stop thought. We're not trying to clear the mind. Those are misconceptions. We're just seeing when a thought has slipped in unnoticed and becomes noticed. We're just going to release it. Make a soft mental note thinking. You could be more specific, like planning or worry. Allow the body to soften. There's almost always a very subtle physical contraction with thought. So softening the body and then returning your attention to an anchor. So you have options here. As you inhale and exhale, where in the body is it easiest for you to track the sensations of the inhalation and the exhalation? Abdomen, chest, even the nostrils. So, for some people that they can feel that it's pretty prominent. Or it could be just kind of you feel the carriage, the whole carriage of the body as you inhale and exhale. And if breath is challenging, I know I had a cold last week. Breath was challenging for me. So you can take the palms of your hands and you can touch them together. You can rest them on the top of your thighs. And the point of contact, the feeling could be your anchor. And another alternative also is sound. And so take a moment to find an anchor, something that you will just return the wandering mind to over and over again as thoughts slip in unnoticed and then become noticed. And whatever anchor you're going to work with this morning, stick with that for the remainder of our practice. Noticing where your mind is, and releasing the memory or the planning, whatever narrative has slipped in. Allow the body to soften and return. And again, noticing where the mind is. Soften the body and just simply return again. And as we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our heart be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our bodies healthy and strong. And may whatever good comes of our practice be of benefit. And as a way to formally end, I want to read a Mary Oliver poem. And it's one I have read in these sessions before, but I came across it again recently and love it. And so continue to allow my words to be an anchor for your attention. So really just moving from the metta practice into closing with these words by Mary Oliver. And the poem is called Today. Today I'm flying low and I'm not saying a word. I'm letting all of the voodoos of ambition sleep. The world goes on as it must, the bees in the garden rumbling a little, the fish leaping, the gnats getting eaten, and so forth. But I'm taking the day off, quiet as a feather. I hardly move, though really I'm traveling a terrific distance. Stillness, one of the doors into the temple. So taking a moment to just reorient to the room that you're in, maybe look around a little bit, do a little bit of a stretch. And so we do have a little bit of time for Q&A. Anybody, of course, that needs to hop off can do that. But for anybody that's new, we save the last part of the practice for sharing resources, books, podcasts, apps that you've come across that you love. Also an opportunity for questions, anything at all about practice, or any comments that you want to make about how your practice was or practice in general. So while folks are thinking about that for a minute, I want to just kind of underscore John's comments about Dave Vago and this idea of decluttering and decluttering the mind. So the system that John mentioned that Dave Vago has been studying is called the glymphatic system. So GLY, the glymphatic system. And typically when we sleep, that's a system that kind of acts as a sweeper. You know, if you sweeps the brain clear of debris that has built up during the day. And it's super important. And it was only like officially discovered in 2012. And so there's been a lot of research into this. And part of it, what they're looking at is, can meditative states somewhat mimic the sleep state to a certain degree and allow some cleansing? And there's some really interesting data that's saying, yes, that's possible. And so he is our guest the last Tuesday of this month. He's also like the Mind and Life podcast, which I love. He did a talk on that system and many other things. He's also somebody who studied pain. So what I'd love to do with Dave is get to both, like how can we use practice to support us when we're in physical pain, and also a bit about the glymphatic system. But I'll be in touch with him early next week to kind of nail down the topic and the questions a little bit more. But yeah, so I just, I thought I would put another plug in. And of course, these sessions are free and open to anybody. So feel free to share on social media with friends, with family, with anybody. I think that the series is going to be really, really interesting. Thank you, Janice and Teresa. Yeah, I love that Mary Oliver poem. I know I've read it. I've read it before in these sessions, but there's just something so lovely about it. Thanks, Anne. We are still discovering new systems. I know it's kind of wild, actually, to think we're so medically advanced, right? As a culture, and yet to think that they really didn't formally figure this system out until 2012. Anybody else, any final thoughts or observations or comments or sharing, any kind of any resources that you've come across that you really love? Just as a community, it's great to be able to share. I'll have to check some expiration dates. Yes, John has me, well, the fridge has been hanging over me, Tammy. I mean, definitely the cleaning the fridge is something that I did like a partial clean this morning. But other than that, please join our Facebook community, join our sessions on Tuesday afternoons, and then those I think are really going to be just wonderful. We're just so newly into all these changes for this year, but really excited about them. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful day and have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Okay, bye, everyone.